Remember that familiar feeling? The anticipation of Friday night. The family debated over which movie to watch. The long drive to that corner store with the iconic blue and yellow sign. For decades, Blockbuster wasn't just a store. It was a ritual, a weekly pilgrimage for entertainment-hungry Americans. But today, that experience exists only in memory. An empire that seemed unstoppable vanished. A business model that appeared bulletproof, shattered. What you're about to hear isn't just a business story. It's a modern-day David versus Goliath tale. A cautionary legend of innovation versus stagnation. And most importantly, it's a reminder that no company, no matter how dominant, is too big to fail. This is the untold story of how a tiny startup with a crazy idea took down a cultural giant. This is how Netflix killed Blockbuster. In the late 1990s, movie nights in America followed a familiar ritual. The blue and yellow glow of Blockbuster signs beckoned from strip malls across the country. Families would pile into cars, wander aisles stacked with VHS tapes, and later DVDs, debating which new release was worth the $4.99 rental fee. At its peak, Blockbuster was a cultural institution with over 9,000 stores worldwide and 65 million registered customers. But today, those stores are gone. The once mighty Blockbuster has been reduced to a single location in Bend, Oregon. A nostalgic curiosity and pilgrimage site for those old enough to remember. What happened? How did an entertainment giant collapse so completely? The story you think you know, that Netflix swooped in and simply outcompeted Blockbuster, only scratches the surface of a much more complex tale of hubris, missed opportunities, and technological revolution. Our story begins not with Netflix's founders, but with a man named Reed Hastings returning a VHS copy of Apollo 13 to his local Blockbuster in 1997. When he discovered he owed $40 in late fees, the seed of an idea was planted. At least, that's how the legend goes. The truth, as we'll discover, is far more intricate. Hastings was already a successful entrepreneur who had sold his software company, Pure Software, for $750 million. He partnered with Mark Randolph, and together they saw an opportunity in the emerging world of DVDs, those shiny new discs that were smaller, lighter, and more durable than VHS tapes. Most importantly, they could be mailed without breaking. While Blockbuster was focusing on in-store rentals with hefty late fees that generated nearly $800 million annually for the company, Netflix launched in 1998 with a revolutionary concept: DVD rentals by mail with no late fees. Yet this alone didn't pose an immediate threat to Blockbuster's dominance. The true genius of Netflix's approach wasn't just eliminating late fees. It was the subscription model they introduced in 1999. Pay $19.95 a month, and customers could rent up to 4 DVDs at a time, keep them as long as they wanted, and return them whenever they pleased to receive new ones. No due dates, no late fees, no driving to the store. Blockbuster's leadership, however, wasn't concerned. John Antioco, who became CEO in 1997, was focused on maximizing profits from Blockbuster's vast retail network. From his perspective, Netflix was a niche service, catering to early DVD adopters, not a serious competitor to the Blockbuster empire. In 2000, Hastings and Randolph flew to Dallas to propose a partnership with Blockbuster. Their offer: Netflix would run Blockbuster's online brand, and Blockbuster would promote Netflix in its stores. Blockbuster would essentially acquire the Netflix brand for $50 million. Blockbuster executives allegedly laughed them out of the room. As former Netflix CFO Barry McCarthy later recalled, they just about laughed us out of their office. It was a great big retail company, and we were just this little Silicon Valley tech startup. This rejection would later be regarded as one of the biggest missed opportunities in business history. But at the time, it made perfect sense to Blockbuster. Why partner with a company that had just 300,000 subscribers and was losing money when Blockbuster served millions of customers daily? What Blockbuster failed to see was that Netflix wasn't just a different business model. It represented a fundamental shift in how consumers would access entertainment in the digital age. By 2002, Netflix had grown to 857,000 subscribers, gone public with a successful IPO, and reached profitability. Meanwhile, Blockbuster was beginning to feel the pressure from multiple fronts. not just Netflix, but also Redbox's $1 per night DVD kiosks and the growing popularity of DVD sales at retailers like Walmart and Best Buy. Antioco wasn't blind to these threats. In 2004, he made a crucial decision. Blockbuster would eliminate late fees, which accounted for roughly 16% of the company's revenue. The move was bold but necessary to compete with Netflix's consumer-friendly approach. Blockbuster also launched its own subscription service, Blockbuster Online. But Blockbuster's board, led by activist investor Carl Icahn, balked at the short-term losses these changes created. The elimination of late fees alone costs the company $400 million in annual revenue. The tension came to a head in 2007 when Antioco was forced out after a compensation dispute with Icahn. His replacement, Jim Keyes, former CEO of 7-Eleven, had a fundamentally different vision. Keyes pulled back on the online subscription service and refocused on Blockbuster's retail stores, famously stating, "Neither Redbox nor Netflix are even on the radar screen in terms of competition." This retreat to Blockbuster's traditional business model would prove disastrous. By 2007, Netflix had shipped its billionth DVD and was beginning to pivot toward what would become its most transformative innovation, streaming video. In January 2007, Netflix announced its streaming service, allowing subscribers to watch movies and TV shows instantly on their computers. The initial catalog was limited to about 1,000 titles, compared to the 70,000 plus available through their DVD by mail service. But Netflix understood something fundamental: convenience trumps selection. Blockbuster, meanwhile, was struggling under the weight of its massive real estate footprint. Each store costs money to operate, requires staff, and can only house a finite number of rentals. Netflix's distribution centers were far more efficient, and streaming eliminated physical distribution costs. As smartphones and tablets proliferated and internet speeds increased, Netflix's streaming service gained momentum. By 2010, it had 20 million subscribers. That same year, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy protection, crushed under nearly $1 billion in debt. In 2011, Dish Network purchased Blockbuster for $320 million and attempted to revive the brand, but it was too late. The remaining stores were closed in 2013, except for a handful of franchise locations that gradually dwindled to the final store in Bend, Oregon. What's rarely discussed in the Netflix versus Blockbuster narrative is how different their corporate DNA was from the beginning. Netflix was born digital, with a tech company's mindset of continuous innovation and disruption, even self-disruption. When Netflix pivoted to streaming, they were cannibalizing their own successful DVD by mail business because they recognized the future. Blockbuster, conversely, was built on retail principles: location, inventory management, and in-person customer service. Transitioning to a digital-first model required not just different business practices, but an entirely different corporate culture and perspective. Perhaps the most profound miscalculation in Blockbuster's strategy was their view of what business they were actually in. They saw themselves as being in the movie rental business, while Netflix understood they were in the entertainment delivery business. This distinction allowed Netflix to evolve as technology changed, while Blockbuster remained anchored to a specific distribution method. The final twist in this tale? In 2008, Blockbuster had the opportunity to purchase Netflix for $50 million, the exact amount Netflix had offered Blockbuster 8 years earlier. By then, Blockbuster was hemorrhaging cash and couldn't afford the acquisition. Today, Netflix is worth over $150 billion, produces its award-winning content, and has fundamentally changed how the world consumes entertainment. Meanwhile, the Blockbuster brand exists primarily as a cautionary tale in business schools and a nostalgic memory for Generation X and older millennials. The fall of Blockbuster wasn't inevitable. It was the result of specific decisions, corporate culture, and a failure to recognize that the business landscape was transforming beneath their feet. In many ways, it's not just the story of two companies, but a parable about adaptation in the face of technological disruption. As we stand in the age of streaming wars, with Disney+, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, and countless others vying for our attention, the lesson of Blockbuster looms large. Even Netflix now faces existential questions about its future as competitors emerge and consumer habits continue to evolve. Perhaps the real moral of the Blockbuster Netflix saga is that no business model lasts forever. The very innovations that allow companies to dominate one era often become the anchors that prevent them from thriving in the next. In business, as in life, adaptation isn't just advantageous, it's essential for survival. And somewhere in Bend, Oregon, the last Blockbuster store stands as both a monument and a warning, a reminder that even the mightiest empires can fall when they fail to evolve with the times. The shelves, once filled with thousands of movies, now hold something even more valuable, a lesson about the future that no one can afford to ignore. As we stream our entertainment today with the press of a button, rarely do we pause to consider how recently this convenience would have seemed like science fiction. The story of Netflix and Blockbuster isn't just about the rise and fall of companies. It's about how quickly our world can transform when technology, vision, and timing align to create something revolutionary. And that, perhaps, is the greatest plot twist of all. As we close this chapter on one of business history's most fascinating stories, I want you to consider, what Blockbuster are you still using today? What Netflix are you missing out on? The world continues to evolve at breakneck speed, and the companies that will thrive tomorrow are the ones preparing for change today. If this story taught you something new about business disruption, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video right now, so others can discover it too. Share it with friends, colleagues, or anyone interested in business strategy and digital transformation. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve and never miss our next deep dive into the business decisions that changed our world, subscribe to this channel now and hit that notification bell. Drop a comment below with your Blockbuster memories. Did you have a favorite store? Do you still have an unreturned DVD somewhere in your home? Or were you an early Netflix adopter who saw this revolution coming? For more untold business stories like this one, explore our channel where we uncover the strategic moves, pivotal moments, and hidden factors behind the rise and fall of iconic companies. Remember, success isn't just about being the biggest today, but about seeing where tomorrow is headed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.